Okay, so this is how we bulletproof every e-commerce brand's email deliverability in less than a month to escape the spam folder. First of all, let me show you some proof. So for example, here we sent to 178% more recipients than last month, and every negative metric on the deliverability side decreased by a lot. So another screenshot here, which is our first campaign we sent for one of our clients after they were struggling to get higher open rates and also re-engage some of the inactive profiles. We did that with just one campaign and continue to do so. And also here for another client of ours, we had a 99.75% delivery rate and a 53% open rate and a 1.41% click rate, all of which were increased. So let me break down the step-by-step process we use to escape the spam folder in less than 1 month. So the first is technical shit you need to do once: proper domain configuration. So make sure you have MX, SPF, DKIM, and DMARC authentication set up for your domain. And here is a fantastic all-in-one guide on how you can do that for your brand's domain. You only have to do this once if you do it properly. So check the guide here. I will link this entire document in the description of this video. So let's move on. After you're done with that, you need to do another technical shit, which you only need once as well: setting up a dedicated sending domain. So this is a must-have to build the brand's sending reputation without any external influence on it. Without this, you will use a shared sending domain, which many other brands use as well to authenticate their emails, meaning your sending reputation is dependent on other brands' sending habits. That's why it's crucial to set up a dedicated sending domain via Klaviyo. So here's the step-by-step process broken down on how you can do that exactly, and also a Klaviyo guide for additional guidance. Again, this entire document is in the description. So let's move on. After you are done with having the right domain authentication in place and having a dedicated sending domain, you can now start the real deliverability fix, which is cleaning the list. You have to get rid of inactive profiles, and this is number 3. Ever since Klaviyo introduced their new pricing structure, list cleaning isn't optional anymore. It's a must. Unless you want to pay for profiles that don't open your emails and have never purchased before. First, you need to set up a sunset flow, which gives inactive profiles a last chance to stay in loop with your brand. 1 to 3 emails asking if they want to take a break, incentivizing them to unsubscribe or purchase. Either way, the goal is to make them make a decision. And don't worry about the performance, because it will get low open rates, low click rates, and close to no conversions, but that's completely normal. After they received all sunset emails and they haven't opened or clicked any or haven't purchased anything, you need to get rid of them. So create a segment for these profiles and suppress them every month right before the billing period, so you don't pay unnecessarily for inactive profiles. So first of all, this guide is for the actual content you need to include in the sunset flow from Klaviyo. And here's a detailed guide on how to create these segments, broken down in a really simple, easy to understand way by Klaviyo. So make sure to check all these out if you don't have this set up yet. So the next very important part about fixing your deliverability issues is boosting engagement. And you can boost engagement in many different ways, but the safest way in terms of deliverability is setting up a couple high engagement flows. The highest engagement flows are the welcome, the abandoned cart and checkout, and the post-purchase flows. Setting up flows that send a couple hundred emails daily is a much safer way to warm up the sending domain than sending tens of thousands of emails daily through campaigns. Another best practice we use is we make the first email of each flow plain text and monitor their delivered and open rates. And if delivery is stable, we change them to image-based emails, but I still recommend adding 1 to 2 plain text emails to each flow. So now you have a dedicated sending domain and you are sending some emails every day to warm up your sending domain. Now the next step is actually starting to send some campaigns to your list. Stop sending campaigns to the entire list. This is incredibly important. Don't blast, point and shoot instead. What I mean by that is create 7, 14, and 30-day engaged segments. Start with the most engaged segment and slowly expand as your metrics stabilize. A 7-day engaged segment is basically including all profiles who have either opened or clicked one of your campaigns or emails in the last 7 days. So these profiles are the most active and most engaged in your entire list. Gradually start sending campaigns to the most engaged segment, and then if your deliverability metrics are trending upwards, you can start broadening the segment and sending to more people. This is an example schedule we would do if we'd have 30 days to escape the spam folder. So week 1, we would send 2 plain text campaigns to the most engaged segment, the 7-day engaged segment. Week 2, we would send 1 plain text and 1 image-based campaign to the most engaged segment. If these campaigns perform well, the segment by sending 1 plain text email to the 14-day engaged segment. And then week 3, we would broaden our segment for all 3 campaigns. 1 plain text, 2 image-based. And then if everything looks right and open rates are stable, we would send 1 plain text and 2 image-based emails to a broader segment, and then 1 promotional campaign to a really broad segment, so like a 90-day engaged segment. This way we can identify if you see any issues or spikes in your unsubscribes or spam complaints. You will know exactly where the problem lies and you can fix that. The next really important point is to learn to read the data. So deliverability metrics are worthless if you don't understand them and can drive conclusions based on the data. So you need to identify what hurts your deliverability. Let's define the ideal metrics to shoot for first of all. And these would be 40% open rates or higher. Anything below 35% is bad. Between 35 and 40, it's okay, but please improve it. And 1% click rates, this is around 1%. It doesn't have to be always above 1%, but the average should be above 1%. Also, a 99.9% delivered rate and less than 0.1% spam complaints. First, make sure you fix deliverability in the short term following the steps we've discussed. But once you have an upward trending deliverability score, you need to find out through testing what really hurts your deliverability. For example, if your spam complaint rate is high, your content is likely irrelevant to your customer. If you have low open rates, either your subject lines are boring or inbox placement is off, meaning your emails mainly land in the promotions or spam folders. Run a couple tests to identify the elements hurting your deliverability, and once you have a clear picture, avoid those at all costs. So in order to avoid deliverability issues long term, there are 3 non-negotiables. First of all, use alt text for images. Using alt text for images in your emails helps with spam filters, keywords, and improving overall deliverability. For some providers, blocking images by default, alt text still ensures that recipients understand the content. Keep it descriptive but concise and aligned with the call to action. The second is mixing plain text with image-based emails. It's crucial for deliverability because it helps maintain a good sender reputation due to a diversified sending, adapts to different email client behaviors, and diversifies email engagement, both replies and clicks. The third is keeping track of deliverability metrics for all providers. So not only looking at the entire funnel, how deliverability changes, but also you have to track how each provider is performing and iterate based on the spikes you see at each provider's metrics. So this is a really useful chart. You can find it under Klaviyo's deliverability reports. which actually shows you, based on the provider, how the negative engagement metrics are looking and how they are trending over time. And here are some next steps on how to increase sending volume to add more revenue to your store. So first of all, don't use spammy words nor caps in your subject line and hope that you drive more eyeballs to your emails, because you're going to achieve the exact opposite. An email landing in spam and seen by nobody. So start gradually sending to broader and broader segments, just like I discussed before, while still keeping your campaigns as targeted as possible, increasing subscriber engagement. Consistently high engagement can only be achieved once deliverability and great, engaging, highly targeted content is created. Only sending discounts to your customers won't drive engagement, only sales. But you sacrifice margins and you risk the ability to sell your products at a full price if done consistently on the long run. That's why I recommend that you provide as much value as possible via engaging, value-driven emails, between promotional emails, to improve the overall customer relationship and brand identity. So I hope you find this helpful. Again, you can find this document in the description, and I see you in the next one.